Hi everyone, I am today going to do a video about some of the tack that I use, and today primarily I'm going to do some of the big things like saddle, bridle, girth, and helmet. I'm going to start with my helmet. So I have the 1K helmet. I don't remember exactly which model this is. It's kind of the standard model. I actually have a very small head, and so this is a small, but it looks really big on me because I have a very oval, like narrow face. So I would have liked to get the oval helmet, but I got this before I knew that was an option, and I had already been wearing it for a few weeks. This one has worked fine. It does put a little bit of pressure on my forehead, but that's just the shape of my head. It's not any faults of the helmet. So I really like it. I like the way that it looks. It's my first like nice low profile helmet. I had a Tipperary before this. It's at home. All my tack is home because I'm spring cleaning, and so I just washed the liner, and the liner is removable. It has these snaps. Brought it home, tossed it in the wash, and now it is much cleaner. But yeah, this gets used a lot. I only have one helmet right now. I just don't think it makes sense to have multiple $300 helmets. It's not something I care about. I love it. If you haven't seen these before, they have this really nice, like, I think it's kind of like faux leather covered straps, and it has the brand there, and then it has this adjustable strap that has the Velcro, which is really nice because then you don't have something flapping around, and just a typical snap closure. And like I said, the center comes out. It's nicely vented. There's mesh in the front and then on the sides, and then there's mesh in the back, and then these things up top are vent as well. So that's my helmet. You'll see it in all of my riding videos. So then for my bridle, I got this winter. This was my kind of big Christmas present to myself, and I got the PS of Sweden Flying Change. So it's the one with the noseband that has kind of the cool shape to it. And I chose this one. I was looking at a lot of the different PS of Sweden bridles, but I chose this one because of the shape. So for her size, Katai has a fairly large head, and so the fact that the noseband is this wide was something that I felt would help make her head look a little bit more petite, and especially with the shape, because the front part of the noseband can be fairly close to where the brow band sits, so I thought that would help it look more petite, and I think it works. It's a good kind of optical illusion. So I think it looks really cute on her. I love the bridle. The leather is amazing. It's definitely the nicest bridle I've ever owned. So it's got the wide crown piece with the little cutout. It's really nicely padded, like nice and plushy, and it's shaped to be really anatomic on their head. The brow band has these snaps, if you haven't seen them before, so you can take it off and change it while it's on. I would just as soon it didn't. When she likes to rub her head on me, and so usually at some point during my ride it ends up coming unsnapped on one side or another. And I have two brow bands, so I bought this one at the same time I bought the bridle, but it didn't come with the bridle. And even though I'd like to get a couple more, I just don't see myself deciding after I have the bridle on my horse that I want to change them. I actually bought this brow band to school in. It's very sparkly, and I don't want to blind anybody when I'm showing, so I'll just use the black one, the plain black one that came with it. I do want, there's a couple of really cute like pink beaded ones with just a little bit of bling, so I'd like to get one of those at some point to probably show in or clinic in or whatever. But so then the noseband, like I said, it has this cool shape. It's just really gorgeous leather. What I really liked was that the flash comes separate. When I first was buying this, I wasn't sure if I was going to use a flash. I'd been using a Micklem before, and that has the action more of a drop noseband rather than a flash. I wasn't quite sure how Katai would take to the flash. And then it's a crank, so it's got the really nice padded piece under the jaw. I had never used a crank noseband before, so I wasn't in love with it at first. It just takes a lot more to do it up. And you have to I have to, because she's so short, I have to walk back and forth to each side of her to get it on. But I do like the padding. Again, it's so loose. She's chomping and chewing on treats when I give them to her, and she can totally open her nose. I really dislike tight nosebands. I can move it around on her nose when I've got it on her, but I do like the padding. And then her bit is I'm gonna mispronounce this, Nuashula, I think. My previous instructor is Swedish, and so she has pronounced it for me properly before, but I probably just butchered it. It's a pony performance bit that's made after kind of like a Springer. It's got the really nicely shaped mouthpiece, and this is at an angle, which is supposed to be helpful. It's made out of that German silver, whatever you want to call it. They call it Salox or Salox, which you can kind of see right there. And as you can see, it's pretty marked up. She's had it for a little while. It doesn't have any sharp edges, so I haven't replaced it, but it definitely has gotten chewed up. It was pretty much the bit I started her in. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's a very small diameter. Because she has such a small mouth and such a low palate that the first bit that I put in her mouth that was just a typical bit, she couldn't even close her mouth all the way, so talk about uncomfortable. So I went out and got this one for her. It's got really, really small rings, which I don't like because it's tough to get the lunge line in here if I'm lunging her. You can tell with the reins and that on there, there's not a ton of room. So I wish it had larger. And you can get these in, a lot of people for ponies use the, I can't remember the name of them. I'll put it here. It's what you use with a double bridle, the bit that's more like a snaffle in a double bridle. And those have smaller diameters, but the problem is I was having a tough time finding her bit size, so this is a 4.5-inch bit. So she's got a tiny mouth. That's the bridle, and then I just have, so I really dislike reins that are braided or cloth or anything. My favorite would be plain reins without these little stops, but this works fine. And these are just cheap black leather reins from the company Horze, H-O-R-Z-E. They're pony sized as well. I think they were like 20 bucks on Black Friday sale, and they have the buckles on the side. So I would like to get the PS of Sweden reins at some point, but for 20 bucks I couldn't say no to these. And so then my girth, I don't know that I've seen this very much, so I thought it would be fun to show it. So I got the Total Saddle Fit Girth. It's the Stretch Tech, and this is actually a 22-inch, so again, kind of weird because she's only 13.2. I had an 18-inch Total Saddle Fit for a while, but her elbow would hit right here, right where all of the bulk is with the buckles and everything, and that looked uncomfortable. So I went with a longer one. So this runs into the bottom of some of my saddle pads, but it works for her. So it's shaped, very, very shaped. It's the only type of girth. The Total Saddle Fit girths are the only types of girths that work for her because they're a combination of this really shaped, and then they're also really narrow. A lot of other girths that are shaped either don't come small enough, although I can almost get away with a 24-inch, so mostly it's okay, but or they're really, really, really thick padding, so then they really run into her elbow. So these are the only ones that I've found that have been a good combination. And I had the typical Total Saddle Fit girth. I still have her 18-inch brown girth that way. But I really like this one. So it allows for some stretch in the middle so that it can, and there's less stretch here than there is here. So it helps keep the front from gaping, which is the only issue I had with the other Total Saddle Fit girths. As you can see, this is separate, so these pieces can be removed. It's all Velcro here. So I'm not going to pull it all the way off because it's a pain to get back on, but there's also neoprene. I bought the leather ones. I'd had leather girths for her. They work really well. So then the center on the other side has this separated pad so that it can work with the stretch, and it's got its own Velcro piece, and then it just sits like that, and when you tighten it up it stretches sort of appropriately. So I really love this girth. It's worked really, really well for her. She's really happy with it. She's never been a girthy pony. And then my saddle, if you watched my barn tour, you saw this. Oh my goodness. So this is the Prestige Lucky. This is the saddle cover that comes with it, which is pretty amazing. I'll show it to you here. So it's got the stretchy bits around the outside edge, and then it's fleece on the inside. So for a free saddle cover, it's really nice. And then it's got the girth pockets, and then it's got this other little pocket, so you could put something else in there. I don't know what you put in there, but you could put something in there if you want to. I use it as girth pockets, which is really nice. So this is the saddle. As you can see, it's got really short flaps, and this is a 16-inch or 16.5-inch saddle. I can't remember which. It fits, they said, before I ever tried it, they told me that it fit almost an inch bigger. I'm a small person. I am not necessarily 16 or 16.5 inch. I would say more like a 17 or even a 17.5 inch. But this saddle does fit a little bit larger. You can see too, it doesn't have an especially deep seat, although it does have a fairly deep seat. So this is set, Prestiges you can adjust, which is really nice. They have an adjustable tree. You have to send it to them because then they use this like machine that changes the width. You can't, like a Wintec, do it yourself. But it's nice that it's changeable. This is, I can't remember what the centimeters are, but this is one setting from the widest setting. Even though Katai doesn't look that wide, she has a really like broad shoulder, and so this works really well for her. You can see it's quite wide. And I got this saddle September of last year, so I haven't had it that long. I've had it checked out by a fitter once since then, and she said it fits beautifully. It feels like it fits beautifully. Katai's really happy in it, so that's the best. This is the newer Lucky, so it's got kind of the cool branding on the seat, and then it's got this little like inset. I don't know if you can see it. This little inset at the top of the seat. The only thing that's a little weird about it is it's got this like little thing that's stuck to it, and Prestige says you can put things on it. So I don't know if they mean like a saddle charm. I don't know what you'd want to put on it. It's not enough that you could fasten like a Velcro strap to it or anything like that, so it's not like you could put a saddle bag or anything like that on it. I suppose you could attach something with your cell phone, but it would really flap against their side, so it would be weird. So yeah, so again, like that. I have very short legs. I'm 5'4", but I have a long torso, so I have very short legs. So the short saddle flaps is really nice, especially since on Katai's sides, because she's a pony, if I had longer flaps, I literally can't even touch her side. The saddle I used prior to, well, 2 saddles ago was a Passier, and those have really long flaps, and I sometimes felt like I couldn't even get through to her, which was tough. So right now I just have these cheap stirrups that I got used. Somebody painted this, like, I don't think you can see it, textured stuff on them. At some point I'm just going to get another pair of the little insets. And then, I don't know if you can tell, they're pretty dark, but my stirrup leathers are actually a dark brown because they matched my previous brown dressage saddle, and it has like a Y girthing system and everything. So that's that. This is the first saddle I've had that like really fits both of us. She was really happy in the passier. I wasn't very happy in the passier. And it was a little long for her, so I was worried that she was going to get a sore back, but we didn't ride in it long enough, I don't think, for that to be an issue. So those are my main pieces of tack. I don't think there are probably going to be any changes anytime soon. I've gone through a couple of periods of change with tack for her, partially because, you know, she was at a point prior to this where her back was changing on a very consistent basis, because it was kind of her first couple of years of being ridden. And then until this last year, we didn't really start specializing in dressage, and so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with her, and that was part of why I had the Micklem, part of why I had brown tack. But this stuff all works really well. I'm in love with the Bridle. At some point I may get some different reins, but I don't see anything else changing anytime soon. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it's not too long. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box down below, and I'd be happy to answer them. Again, I know there aren't that many resources for pony-sized tack, and of course each pony is different, but I'd be happy to share my experience. I have been through a couple different setups, so I'm happy to share what worked for me. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye. Way. Right? Oh, I know. It's the best thing ever. Love your ponies. I know. Right? Get it. You know. Good boy.